It's not March of 2020. It's March of 2012. You're sitting there watching certain movies in the theaters. Clash of the Titans, Prometheus, John Carter, The Lorax, and many others. For music, you're listening to Katy Perry, Adele, Kelly Clarkson, Pitbull, and Flo Rida, and Bruno Mars. Is there any fucking rock during this month in 2012? Looming on the horizon 2 months away is a small little movie, little indie jobber called The Avengers. And you're anxious to go ahead and see that movie when it comes out. In gaming, you're playing games like Skyrim and World of Warcraft Cataclysm. Mists of Pandaria has been announced and it's a little bit on the horizon. I was covering the Mists of Pandaria beta and dealing with my experiences with Swoter's customer service and covering games like Drakensang and the Terra beta and the Blacklight beta. And then Justin Woods went out on a small little network called G4 TV. And he went on a show called X-Play. And he talked about this game called Marvel Avengers Alliance. And he said, I want this game to be as epic in scope as Final Fantasy VII. And 2 months prior to March of 2012, we had this lovely little trailer.
The world is under siege. A mysterious force is attracting supervillains and making them stronger than ever. Welcome to S.H.I.E.L.D., the planet's last line of defense against superhuman aggressors. Recruit and command the most powerful team of Avengers ever assembled. Take on the most notorious supervillains in epic head-to-head showdowns. And become the greatest S.H.I.E.L.D. agent of all time. Marvel Avengers Alliance. Coming soon, only on Facebook.
Wolverine might be known as the gruff and ferocious bad boy.
Now, we all know that only
doesn't mean
on
he
Facebook wasn't true, as of course we did have the Playdom version of it. And the two existed separately until eventually the Playdom version went ahead and wrapped up. And people got moved over from the Playdom version into Facebook. And if you happen to catch those episodes of X-Play where Justin Woods was there, there's a little link. And you could go out and click that link, and when you played Marvel Avengers Alliance, you could get the X-Play Exploiter. A nice 4-round little gadget that was a quick action, put blinded on the enemy team, and put staggered on the enemy team. But I had a 4-round cooldown. Now, the problem with this thing is it actually had some use during the Hugins Eye meta, but the cooldown was way, way too big. But putting staggered on the entire enemy team when you had to deal with certain ISOs and agent gear was pretty good. And if we look over here on the wiki, we can see that the Marvel Avengers Alliance was a turn-based social networking game developed by Offbeat Creations, which we never really talk about. We always talk about the publisher being Playdom, but we never talk about the studio that created it, called Offbeat Creations. This is actually the first time that I've really ever seen this. It was based on the characters and storylines published by Marvel Comics and written by Alex Irvine. The game was an Adobe Flash application on Facebook. It launched on Facebook on March 1st. It was initially released as a crossover to Avengers, and this is something that I do remember. It won the award for the best social game on G4 TV. during the VGA Awards on Spike in 2012. It was eventually made available to the iOS in June of 2013. The servers running Playdom's official site were announced to be discontinued, and then they moved it over to Facebook, and of course we had the shutdown in September 30th of 2016. In case you forgot, our universe was designated Earth 12131, and only you could be the best agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. So as we can see here, looking at it's apparently gotten reordered, but surprisingly enough, I did not wind up getting into Marvel Avengers Alliance until much later. So here we are in early 2012. In March of 2012, I was doing Terra, Blacklight, Retribution, Raider Z. Tim's Tech Corner was still alive, doing some stuff on Android. And then I was doing the Mists of Pandaria beta. And then way here, after some Path of Exile and more Mists of Pandaria, Firefall, some more Tim's Tech Corner stuff, more Pandaria stuff throughout 2012. Skipping ahead, more Tim's Tech Corner stuff, some raiding, Torchlight 2, Ace Online, City of Steam, Wizardry, 7 Core, which is terrible. And then here it is, the first time, almost a full year later, March 12th of 2013, is when I first covered Marvel Avengers Alliance. So, happy 10th anniversary to Marvel Avengers Alliance. And now, let's take a look at what might have been that beginning experience for you way back in 2012. When you first started, you had the helicarrier there, which was not decked out in its Christmas regalia anymore. But you were looking at some early characters like Iron Man in his default suit, Black Widow, Hawkeye, Black Cat, Captain America, Colossus, Cyclops, who I believe was who I picked for my first free character. And then over on the Playdom version, I believe I picked Thor. So aside from those characters, I think... Oh, there was a bug for this. We had original characters like Hulk, She-Hulk, Thing, classic Thor. For other blasters, we had classic Doctor Strange, classic Human Torch, modern Miss Marvel with the lightning stroke, Phoenix, Storm, Invisible Woman, Kitty Pryde, Nightcrawler, the original Spider-Man. Scrappers, of course, had Daredevil, Iron Fist, Luke Cage, who was a scrapper by default, even though we most often associate him with a bruiser. Sif with the best gams in the game, the most athletic legs ever. Classic Spider-Woman, who was considered one of the biggest helicarrier pilots until she became Kurth. Yellow and Blue Wolverine. For tacticians, you had Hawkeye, you had Cap, again, more known as a bruiser, but he started as a tactician. Cyclops, Mr. Fantastic, War Machine, before we mostly knew him as Pepsi Can or Iron Patriot, and then you were the only generalist at that point. So this is pretty similar to what you would have seen with the game 10 years ago. It is amazing to think that at this point, we are looking at a game that was out there 10 years ago. So what is the status of it now? What is happening with Redux? What is going on? Well, at this point, Redux is still definitely being worked on by Goofy. We're waiting for Beta 4 to drop. Unfortunately, the story development team suffered two setbacks in the beginning of 2022 with the loss of Dr. Midnight and Black Max, who basically was the collective core of the story team. But Goofy is soldiering on, trying to get Beta 4 up and running. And hopefully we eventually get on over to Redux having a live candidate. As you can see here, these generalists definitely occurred down the road. Angel was a PvP season reward known as the Big Botch season. This is the one where if you happen to play in that particular season, you got Angel and you got Adamantium as your reward. I don't really remember what the screw up was for this particular season, but as you can see here, he was the reward for season 9 about a year and a half after the game came out. I believe Punisher was a early PvP here. Actually, yeah, season 4. So let's see what season 1 was, when it was, what you got. So, season 1, Vibranium Lead got you the Infiltrator uniform, and Adamantium was Deadpool. Known as Justin Wood's favorite character in the game, it was always rumored that Deadpool was Justin Woods' favorite character, which is why he was pretty much never nerfed, never really touched, and has had his moments of being overpowered. There was a PvP season much later in the game where Deadpool caused an extension of the season by a week, because Deadpool was ridiculously bugged in PvP and causing some headaches. Season 2, Cable. I do remember that one. And he was available 1 month after the season ended. That was their standard routine. If you got to Adamantium, you got the character, but then a month later, you could buy the character. Season 3, we got Psylocke. And this one ended December 13th. I believe this is probably going to be the last one for the first year. Yep, and then Punisher was the first one of 2013. Over on Spec Ops, let's see what the first... Well, the first Spec Ops we definitely know was Mockingbird. Where did you... There we go. There she is, Mockingbird. And believe it or not, it started pretty early on. Just 2 months after the game was live, the first Spec Ops dropped. May 15th is when it began, and June 20th is when it ended. Mockingbird was a reward, and if you remember, this season was a little messed up because you didn't do it the standard way. You actually earned your way into this one. So this season was a little bit different. They kind of changed how Spec Ops worked afterwards. You got to earn things like the Enchanted Crowbar, which was based on Wrecker. I do remember the target pistol. This thing was a little weak, but the target focus is really what was kind of good about that. ISO 8 corruption better once Pesty dropped. Taste of Thunder. I remember this thing. It would eventually go on sale in the store. Yeah. Starting June 11th in 2014, you could just buy this thing in the store. Not really that great. Toolbox, I definitely remember. I think, yeah, this one hit all enemies. Dizzy, exposed. So as you can see here, you were fighting people like Magia, Grunts. You had Madam Mosk in there. Bulldozer. Hammerhead. Thunderball. Pile Driver. Wrecker over there. Mockingbird was actually a mini-boss. So that's what it looked like early in the game. And this was originally released just to be a tie-in to the Avengers movie. And as some people have pointed out on Facebook recently, if you got that Avengers DVD, there were trailers in there for Marvel Avengers Alliance. So, you know, our definite hope is that pretty soon, or I shouldn't say pretty soon, hopefully Goofy will go ahead and get Beta 4 out there. Beta 2 and Beta 3 do definitely combine to give you a rather solid Marvel Avengers Alliance Redux experience. As you can see here in 3, combat is automatically done. However, you can earn friends for your deploys and everything. Collect all. It goes to your allies. It collects stuff. There are going to be some Easter egg allies in here. You do get to experience some more items of the UI. You can go through the team. You can recruit characters. You can level them. Here, all of these characters are level 1 and such, but I believe I have a different save with some different characters unlocked and levels and everything. Let's take a look here. My agent still says level 1. He's actually not. He's higher than that. Yeah, there we go. Expand that a little bit. Yeah, so that car you hear going by, definitely not going to be dealing with that too much longer, as my girlfriend and I have secured a new house. So we are going to be moving in the end of March, early April somewhere, and it's going to be glorious. We've been looking since October, and we actually went through 44 to 45 houses that we stepped into and bid on about 14 or 15 of them before we actually got the place that we're going to be moving to. Yeah, it was crazy. Actually, there's my agent. He's level 15. These characters are higher, as you can see. Daredevil has to train. You can upgrade your jets. You can send them on missions. You can take a look at the store. This is similar to what you would have seen in the store at the time. There's your jumpsuits for sale for silver and for actual gold. You had some supplies. You had some early ISO 8s, the cheap stuff. So, but yeah, we'd been looking really since October and finally managed to get something. So we are definitely excited. We are going to be away from this main road that is literally in our backyard, and things are going to be considerably quieter. So hopefully you won't get to hear those the road behind me in future videos and everything. So anyway, guys, this is the 10th anniversary of Marvel Avengers Alliance. Had it still been alive today, what content do you think we would be dealing with right today? So we're kind of in a gap on the movies. What do you think we'd be dealing with? Maybe a Hawkeye and Kate Bishop Spec Ops? I think by now that would have wrapped up. Spider-Man Spec Ops? Maybe a No Way Home related kind of a deal? I don't honestly know. A lot of the other games for Marvel, like Marvel Future Revolution, did go into it. Marvel Future Fight did go into it. But I feel like all of that content would have been old by now. So I don't really know. Probably a PvP season. And maybe a Spec Ops not tied to any movies. Maybe something original. What do you think it would be? I'm kind of curious. By the way, if you are artistically inclined over on Discord, there is a contest going on. Over an announcement, there is a development contest going on, which is custom hero development. So they had a Spec Ops contest before. Now they are doing a custom hero development. So get on the Discord and you can design a character and submit it. A general release hero, a PvP tournament reward hero, a special operations reward, one hero alt for an existing hero, gear, general ISOs, hero restricted ISOs, general A ISOs, hero restricted A ISO, and a heroic battle. So if you think you can do this, go ahead and jump into our Discord. Links will be in the description. Go to announcements, go to this Google Doc, and see what you can do. Over on Marvel Avengers Alliance, they have the Nothing to Fear, Fear Itself inspired outfit, the Uru armor for Iron Man, and apparently this is a huge hit. I'm updating my Marvel Avengers right now and plan to go in there and take a look at this particular skin, maybe even do a video on it. I always wanted Marvel Avengers Alliance to tackle the Mighty gear because, you know, we had the Fear Itself characters, Null and Kurth, and of course, you know, Playdom reworked who they were attached to. So rather than Juggernaut, you had, I mean, Juggernaut was Kurth. That was brought over to Spider-Woman. So you had interesting things going on there with a twist as to who they were associated to. So it'd be very interesting to see who would have become the Mighty. Would they have stuck with the comic Mighty, or would they have gone in another direction? Let's see. Marvel the Mighty. Miss Marvel, Iron Fist, Doctor Strange, Iron Man, Black Widow, Hawkeye, Red She-Hulk, Spider-Man, and Wolverine got blessed by Asgardian items. Over in Marvel Duel, you do see the Black Widow Asgardian swords over there. Marvel Realm of Champions has Thor with the Iron Destroyer armor kit. Yeah, there we go. There's Juggernaut. There's all the characters that would eventually show up in Marvel Avengers Alliance, but this is in their, of course, their original form. You can see Mock, Skrin, Kurth over there, Juggernaut. And, you know, we had, like, Luke Cage taking over. Sin was there. We dealt with Sin in Marvel Avengers Alliance. You know, they kept her that way. Marvel Heroes did a good job of covering a lot of the Fear Itself uniforms. Grey Gargoyle with Mock. Juggernaut with Kurth. I forget some of the Thing. I believe Thing had a really good skin in Marvel Heroes, where he had like the little tentacle coming out of him. Let me see. Thing, Fear Itself. Yep. Yeah, they had the skin over in Marvel Heroes. And that was what went over to Damien. Fear Itself, the Worthy. It'd be interesting. Yep, there it is. I love that little thing right on his shoulder over there. And of course, here was the... it didn't show it. I wanted to see it. There it is. Okay. Serpent, Sin, Juggernaut is Kurth, Absorbing Man is Graythoth, Titania is Skrin, Hulk as Null, Atuma as Necrod. That's who went over to Mockingbird. Grey Gargoyle is Mock, and Thing is Angrier, who would go over to Damien or Hellstrom. So there you go, guys. That's is Marvel Avengers Alliance from 10 years ago. I wonder what we would be dealing with today. Maybe with the fact that Marvel Avengers is releasing the Uru armor over here. Maybe we would have finally gotten around to the Mighty. I don't know. I don't think so. I think we would have dealt with the Mighty already. What would have been good is if they let... I could imagine them letting Null and Kurth cook for a while and people realize how overpowered they were. and then release mighty characters that could kind of counter them. We did get mighty gear. That definitely was out there. However, we never got mighty characters. And if you don't happen to remember the mighty gear, if you weren't playing that late, I believe Golden Sextant. It was around this time. Yeah, Mighty Means, Marvelous Might, Rise of the Serpent. And this is where we started dealing with some of the mighty gear. And that it actually worked pretty good against the worthy. Interesting. It's not really talking that much about the gear here, but this was the Spec Ops where we dealt with it. And quite a great deal of fun. Let's see if the boss... No, it's not really talking about what they dropped. Epic boss? No. I don't remember. I think it was like... There was like an axe and a staff. Let's see if I can get to it from the Sextant. Combat Expertise, Marvelous Might, maybe? No, just on the Golden Sextant. The Golden Sextant was one of the better items out there because of the quick action. There we go. The Mighty Mace, the Hammer, the Dagger, the Skull, the Staff, the Sword, and the Trident. That was the mighty weapons that we got. Who do you think would have become the Mighty in Marvel Avengers Alliance if it was around? I definitely don't think they would have stuck with the comics, so who do you think would have turned into it? So, there you go, guys. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here, but I would like to see your responses down below as to what content you think we might be playing right now in 22 in the beginning of March, if the game was still live, and who do you think they might have turned into the Mighty, considering we know who they turned into the Worthy. Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next video.